On this channel, we provide useful programming information with practical code examples. This time, it's about CSS properties related to filter effects. You can learn about the uses and how to write properties such as filter and transform. Enabling subtitles will make the code descriptions easier to understand. Now, let's take a look at the filter property. The filter property is used to apply visual effects to elements. You can easily add a variety of effects such as blurring images or elements, adjusting brightness, and changing contrast. The filtered image sepia class has a sepia effect applied. The filtered image opacity class has an opacity effect applied. The filtered image multiple class has brightness, contrast, and sepia effects applied to the image. For the filter property, specify none or a filter function. Specifying none applies no filter effects. Specify the filter function to apply in filter function. Multiple filters can be specified by separating them with spaces. The blur function applies a blur effect. The value is specified in pixels, px, and the larger the value, the stronger the degree of blur. The brightness function adjusts brightness. The value is specified based on 0, completely dark, to 1, original brightness. Specifying a value greater than 1 makes the element brighter. The contrast function adjusts contrast. The value is specified based on 0, grayscale, to 1, original contrast, and values greater than 1, enhance contrast. The grayscale function converts the element to monochrome. The value is specified from 0, original color, to 1, completely monochrome. The hue rotate function rotates the hue. Values are specified in degrees, deg, applying color changes by rotating the hue. The hue rotates in the range from 0 deg to 360 deg. The invert function inverts the colors. Values are specified from 0, original color, to 1, completely inverted. The opacity function changes the transparency of an element. Values are specified in the range from 0, completely transparent, to 1, opaque. The saturate function adjusts the saturation. Values range from 0, monochrome, to 1, original saturation, and specifying values greater than 1 enhances saturation. The sepia function converts to sepia tone. Values are specified from 0, original color, to 1, full sepia tone. Multiple filters can be applied, separated by spaces. The filter property is a powerful tool for creating visually appealing elements easily. It has the following advantages. Visual effects can be added easily. Images can be adjusted using only CSS, without image editing software. Dynamic effects can be created by combining with animations. Next, let's look at the transform property. The transform property is used to apply 2D or 3D transformations to elements. Various visual transformations such as position, rotation, scaling, enlarge, reduce, and skewing can be specified with CSS. The transform property is often used in combination with animations and helps in creating dynamic UI elements. In the transform scale class, hovering over the element enlarges its width by 1.5 times and its height by 2 times. In the transform skew class, hovering over the element rotates it by 30 degrees on the x-axis and 20 degrees on the y-axis. In the transform rotate class, hovering over the element rotates it by 45 degrees and enlarges it by 1.5 times. The transform property specifies either none or a transform function. If none is specified, no transformation will be applied. Specify the type of transformation with transform function. Multiple transformations can be applied by separating them with spaces. The translate x, y function moves an element by the specified distances along the x and y axes. Specify x and y using units such as px or %. You can also specify individually with translate x or translate y. The rotate angle function rotates an element by the specified angle in degrees, deg. The scale x, y function scales an element along the x and y axes. X and y are scale factors relative to the original size. For example, scale 2 will double the size. You can specify individually with scalex or scaley. The skew x angle, y angle function skews an element by specified angles along the x and y axes. You can specify individually with skew or skewy. The matrix function specifies a matrix for combining multiple transformations at once. It is usually used in combination with other transformation functions. The translate 3D function performs translation in 3D space. It can be specified in 3 dimensions: x, y, and z axes. By setting the transform style property to preserve 3D and the perspective property to 600px, a 3-dimensional movement effect with depth is applied to the child elements. The rotate 3D function performs rotation in 3D space. It rotates an element with respect to the x, y, and z axes. The transform property can apply multiple transformations simultaneously. For example, you can combine rotation and scale. The transform property is a powerful tool in CSS for visually transforming elements. By combining various functions, you can create interactive and dynamic UIs. The transform property allows direct transformation of elements, enabling visual manipulation without altering the DOM layout. It is very useful for creating animations and interactive elements, enabling dynamic designs when combined with transition or animation. Next, let's take a look at the transform origin property. The transform origin property is used to set the point of origin for transformations applied by the transform property. You can specify the reference point for element transformations, allowing you to control around which position effects like rotation or scaling are applied. In this example, when you hover the mouse over the element, it rotates and scales simultaneously based on the point specified by the transform origin property. For the transform origin property, you specify x, y, and z, like this. For x, specify the reference point on the x-axis, horizontal direction. Values can be specified using keywords left, center, right, or lengths, px, %, etc. For y, specify the reference point on the y-axis, vertical direction. Values can be specified using keywords top, center, bottom, or lengths. For z, specify the reference point on the z-axis, depth direction. It can only be used with 3D transformations. It's optional, and the default is 0. The default value for the transform origin property is the center of the element for both the x and y axes. This means that, by default, transformations are performed with the center of the element as the reference point. Values for the transform origin property can be specified using keywords, percentages, lengths like px, m, etc. Keyword specification. Left sets the x-axis reference to the left edge of the element. Right sets the x-axis reference to the right edge of the element. Top sets the y-axis reference to the top edge of the element. Bottom sets the y-axis reference to the bottom edge of the element. Center sets the reference for either the x or y-axis to the center of the element. Percentage specification. 0% sets it to the left or top edge. 50% sets it to the center. 100% sets it to the right or bottom edge. Length specification. You can finely adjust the reference point using specific lengths like px, m, etc. Transform origin can also be used for 3D transformations. In 3D transformations, you can also specify the reference point on the z-axis. For example, by specifying the center of rotation in the depth direction, transformations with a sense of depth are possible. The source code for this video can be downloaded from the official website. If you like, please visit the URL in the description to aid your learning. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the content of this channel, please consider subscribing.